Hey Queen, my name is Katrina Lewis Dixon and I am your host of the Humble Entrepreneurial Esthetician, where I want to normalize the struggle of being your own boss by sharing real, raw stories behind some of your favorite Etsys. Now let's boss up.
Hey girl, hey. I'm with Amari Knight, one of my former students and now esthetician. She is the owner of Precise Pineapple in Toronto, and she's also an esthetician at a franchise in Toronto. Hey queen, how are you doing?
Great. I'm very happy to be here. It's been a minute.
Yes. We were really close. You used to be one of my students, and I just saw something in you, and I was just like so drawn to her energy. And I remember doing like a couple photo shoots, and you started doing my makeup for some of them and all these things. So, and then after you graduated, we just started getting closer and closer. But now Amari lives in Toronto, so we never get to see each other. So now we're just catching up. So we both experienced some type of racism or seen certain type of racism, and also working with a lot of like product lines and things that are just not for every human. You know, there's so many businesses and so many brands that are thriving right now, but they're not dedicated to all skin types and hair types. So today first of all, we'll talk about waxing and how difficult it is to find a good wax for all hair types.
There are so many different waxes on the market, and there are so many different waxes for different hair types that can work for majority, if not all, or there could be a wax that is better for one hair type and not another. So finding one that can be universal, very beneficial, but very hard to find.
A lot of waxing areas, especially like bikini and underarms, there's already sometimes a lot of hyperpigmentation around that area. And when you're putting a lot of hot wax, especially soft wax on that area, you're just targeting that melanin production. So it just gets darker over a period of time. So with sugar, it's more lukewarm, or even hard waxes. There's a lot that are more lukewarm so that they're not going to essentially burn the skin and create more hyperpigmentation. But I know that I've been trying to find a line for so long to cater to all skin types, all hair types. But it's still really hard, and like are really appreciative that we take the extra time to like, whether we tweeze or we use like hard wax with a combination of soft wax on the pubic mound, because there's been times where clients are saying that like they're facing discrimination going into a spa. A lot of times area of knowledge in these, whether it's a spa, small business, franchise, it doesn't matter what it is, a lot of estheticians don't get to practice on different hair types. And I've had a client even like been bruised up, like skin ripped, bleeding, murder scene, because like this esthetician did not know what she was doing. And then so she just didn't even bother doing the other side, because like she just was like, I'm going to shave, forget this. Like she might as well got one of those wax kits and done it at home.
Yeah. And I've experienced it myself too as a client, where left hair back, I've had to pay more and get charged extra because of my hair type. So definitely the education, the different types of wax, it's a necessity to know about these things, to be aware as an esthetician, so you can provide the best service to your client, give them what they came to get done, and that's the hair remove.
And educate them on how to prep and how to take care of their skin before and after. And it's not just a one-time service and then you come back every 4 to 6 weeks. It's a service that you have to maintain at home, and you get a lot of the results when you're at home.
Definitely pack that with me. I need it all the time. So that has been doing wonders in the short span of time that I have been using it. I have transformed my underarms. I need to put it out there for everybody to know. Really, I've been battling with hyperpigmentation, and the education that Katrina has helped me as a student learn about different products, what I've done in the past that contributed to the hyperpigmentation as well, and how I can help calm things down and help target those areas to bring it back to the complexion I either want it to be or maybe even lighter. So I've done my thorough research and I found several products, And now that I am the owner of the Precise Pineapple, I will be providing these services as well. So it really comes down to education because there's so many things out there that can help so many people. You recommended Bush Balm, and that I've been using literally since college. Like I have not stopped. That's like holy grail.
I love the Bermuda oil for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I'm still looking for something like in a Vajacia line that is going to create like a good like cleanser, enzyme, serum, and then maybe like an oil. But I do love like I'm using the mask and the oils from Bush Balm, but just something to incorporate the vitamin C's. And
I've also found this new brand, and it's made with melanin in mind. It's meant for the special areas, and it will help with all post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and like just in general hyperpigmentation. You can use it all over the body. They have cleansers, they have creams.
It is really difficult, but there is hopefully more of a voice and more diversity. It's just, especially even in Canada, like it's so hard to find certain products. And we were just talking about this earlier, like crossing products around, like across the border is really difficult. So there's even brands that I have been reaching out to and they don't even ship to Canada, right? So we're very limited. But I used to work for a brand a while ago, and like I was always advocating for like darker skin types, and like it worked to a certain extent. It really depended on like hormonal issues, and there was a lot of contraindications for sure. But in general, I found that like it was like, okay, it's going to work on a white woman that has post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which is basically any hyperpigmentation caused from trauma to the skin. So it could be a breakout, it could be a scar, it could be a cut, it could be a nick, it could be a bunch, but anything that's caused trauma to the skin. And that's hyperpigmentation. Hypopigmentation is when the skin is lighter than its natural shade. So it wouldn't dilute any of that, but it would help with the darkness. And, you know, a lot of my clients that were like Fitzpatrick, like 5 and 6, like they were not seeing results. And like I was saying, like we need to leave on the light on longer for these skin types. We need to have maybe a little bit more vitamin C. You know, maybe more lighteners that are going to help adjust these skin types, because like you're saying it's working for everybody. You're advertising it's working for everybody. Like how I believe in products that work. And I'm not going to recommend my clients using products that I don't believe in or that I haven't seen that have worked with my own eyes. And like I was using it on my husband, who's a skin type 6, and like he has really bad mosquito bites all over his back. And I was like using it on him religiously. Nothing. You know, so it's like I've tried it. I've done the testing, you know. So you need to work and like because like everybody deserves skincare that works. And unfortunately, the people that do suffer with hyperpigmentation the most are the ones that have more melanin production. And I've had clients have texted me trying to book an appointment, and they asked if they accepted women with hijabs. And I was like, of course I do. Like, anybody, everyone, all humans. And they were like, we went to a spa once. It was her and her sister trying to book an appointment, and they went to a spa once, and they had 2 appointments for like back to back. So let's say 12 and 12:30. And the receptionist at the front said that they didn't have an appointment, and they had the confirmation in front of them, and they said, oh, sorry, like we're fully booked. That must have been a mistake. And I was just so heartbroken for them. Like, and they were just so appreciative. And I'm just like, are we really in that world? And people think that like Ottawa's not racist. And y'all know there's really like passive aggressiveness here. And like, it's just super frustrating that like we're still in this, especially in a beauty standard that is set so high by society. Like it's awful. But like I thought it was getting better, and especially like all inclusion and like, you know, like all body weights and body types. And then I'm just like hearing this and I'm like, what spa is it? I don't know to this day what it was. She didn't tell me, but I was just like, I want to write a complaint. I think you should write a Google review.
Yeah, all inclusion is like all inclusion to a certain extent. Like you still have to fit a certain caliber of this all inclusion. So when it comes to wearing hijab, if that's your faith, cool. That's the inclusion part, but I don't want to see it. I've not really been questioned from clients about, is it okay if I have a hijab on, but their hair type. Can you do my hair type? Are you familiar with my people? And are you comfortable with me, with my practices being in the, like, can I keep my hijab on during service, or can I take it off? Are you okay with that? And letting the client be safe. Some clients don't feel safe enough, even though it's usually women estheticians, they don't feel comfortable enough to just, fully, and, that's preference too. But I've been told, like, they felt safe enough where they can fully expose and this is their time to relax and they feel seen. It breaks my heart to hearing those things from all different types of clients, or hearing all these negative experiences because people are just not familiar with different races, different religions outside of the beauty standard norm and their own.
I've gotten that a lot, especially like you said, Middle Eastern clients, a lot of Lebanese, like they grow up with this in their culture. They use sugaring, like their mama's making sugaring at home on the stove and they're cooking, and this is part of their culture. So like they want to make sure you know what you're doing, and even like sugaring, it's so hard to find good sugaristas. And there's so many different types of sugar. And I've used probably 4 or 5 different kinds, Canadian and American, and like I find they're all different textures, so I don't know what they are doing to them because it's sugar, lemon, and water. What else are you cooking on the stove? But whatever, But I found a brand that I do like. It is great for anyone that has coarse, thick hair, even if it's straight, even if it's curly. Like I highly, highly recommend to do waxing like 2 to 3 times, loosen up that hair growth. And then their hair is going to be a little bit like finer and softer. And then we can start sugaring. Because if we sugar the very first time, y'all are not going to like us very much. It does hurt. It does tug. Again, it depends on your hair type. But anybody that has that coarse, dense, curly hair, try wax 2 to 3 times and then start your sugaring journey. And I promise your life is going to change. But your specialty is makeup application. Now, I did makeup for about 2 seconds and I did not like it. Way too stressful. And so I really don't know a lot in that department. But I know we've discussed even before, like at the school that we met at, there's not a lot of options for all skin types or all skin colors, I should say.
Yes. And it was very heartbreaking in the beginning at the school. From off the bat, it was already just being excluded. The only product that was there and meant for darker complexions was removed for the kit because there was no need. They didn't see unless they didn't need to be there. And yes, in retrospect, there weren't a lot of darker complected students. But still, for education purposes, there were still some students that would have very much benefited from that product.
And like you only had 4 shades in class, and then you were basically told to mix.
Exactly. Mixing or, go to the front of the class to get whatever products that were removed because it wasn't needed for this semester or this group of students. But for me, it's like when you go into the real world, and you're no longer just in school, without that experience, you cannot cater to everybody. And that's what I've noticed in the industry. And that's why I started, because I couldn't find anybody to do my makeup.
Great. That's exactly why I started TropixGal. Like all I was seeing at a spa that I used to work at was basically white women and like once in a while Middle Eastern, once in a while Black women. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Like, and then like I just started taking some of my friends and then like started hearing some of their stories. And then when it really turned for me was actually working at that school. And I was like, holy shit. Like there is no like inclusion. And like, this is why people have such a hard time finding a good esthetician, one of many other reasons, but like they don't feel safe or they don't feel confident about their esthetician being able to remove the hair or a makeup application or a hairdresser, right? I heard Queen Latifah only hires Black makeup artists for her sets, and like that's understandable. I'm not saying white women cannot perform makeup on Black women. Like it takes a lot of education because I know some white women that can do crazy braids, or like I know some, like it's all about your education and how bad you really want it. But from Queen Latifah's point of view or a client's point of view, it almost feels more better or more confident to have somebody of your own like race, right? And it shouldn't be that way. We should all be able to like accept one another and be able to feel confident and comfortable in your own rooms, right? And just be able, like, especially if you're asking for a service, you're paying $60 to $75 for a Brazilian wax, and you getting a little like hairs left behind, and she's gonna be itchy, and she's not gonna feel so nice. Like, you paid for a service. It doesn't matter my skin. It doesn't matter my hair color, my hair type, it shouldn't matter. And this is what's wrong with the industry that we live in and like society in general, but like just the industry that we live in, that it's just not available for everyone. And like, we're really trying to take that out, like that insecurity out, all right. So that is a wrap. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being on today's episode. That was so informative, and I just love having these conversations. I think they're extremely important, and it's really important just to let others know that they're not alone in this like hair removal and intimate skincare journey and hyperpigmentation journey. And like, we are fighting as small businesses like to like try and like either get the word out or try and find like better solutions for your skin type. So we are there. So is there anything else you wanted to say before this episode is over?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me. Definitely very informative. I'm always learning something new every day and looking to find new products, to find new techniques, to help myself and to help other people. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. I am your host, Katrina Lewis-Dixon, and I see you, boo-boo. Whether you're at home, driving, or setting up for your clients, let's boss up together. If this podcast aligns with you, then please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Later.